everybody, welcome back to my channel. Okay, it's the end of the year. It's time for a wrap up. All the videos that I had put out at the beginning of the year are going to be linked down in the description box below. So if this is your first time seeing any of this, I highly recommend that you just check those videos out below because they're going to have a lot more detail of what I had planned to do. This is a wrap up of some of the things that just some thoughts and different things on these subjects. So in this video, I am approaching these subjects as our family unit. Okay, so that means that these are all the stuff that we did as a family. So you're not going to see in this video like the math curriculum or the spelling curriculum or anything like that. But on that note, insofar as the spelling curriculum, I do have a couple students that work together, so it's not a family thing, but I combine as many students together as I can. I'm just going to say one thing about that, and I will also leave the video link down below about that spelling. We are using Simply Charlotte Mason Spelling Wisdom, and at the end of the year, I asked what the girls thought, if they wanted to go back to a more traditional type of spelling curriculum, but the vote was unanimous without blinking, without anything. They love this curriculum. They love how it is teaching them. No, it's not easy, as in there is never any learning involved, but so some things are still, they're having to learn how to spell and kind of things like that, but it's within a context of a whole paragraph. There is a lot of writing. They did say that, but in the end they still chose that one over the traditional just memorizing a bunch of lists and then taking the test. They liked Charlotte Mason Spelling Wisdom better. That being said, I do not use it as a grammar program, so I don't use it in the typical Charlotte Mason way. I still tell them where there is a comma or a period or a quotation or a semicolon. However, over the years of using it, they have kind of figured out on their own when things would happen. Both of those girls are very much like me. We can only do bite-sized pieces of being read to copy. If you get more than 4 or 5 words, we all do it. We all start jumbling and rewriting the sentence how we think it should flow rather than how it is said. And even though this is going on time and time again, it's just something we do. It's something we struggle with, and we'll start flipping it. So I keep those bite-sized smaller, so I don't read a section from the beginning of a sentence to a comma. I just take a few words at a time. And so it can make it makes it a little difficult when you're trying to put punctuation in. So that's all I'm going to say about that spelling program, but let's get started talking about some of the things that we've used in our family. Okay, for Bible this year, that's all we did. We just used our Bible. We read through it. Some of the things that we didn't do so well was Bible memory. Worked on that. I want to use the more Charlotte Mason approach with it, or the Simply Charlotte Mason approach with it, with having a system where you can pull it out, read it, but then you review some of the other ones you've done. I just haven't gotten to that point yet. I have a big whiteboard that I write everything out and we all say it together, and it works out fabulously that way. But as we get to the end of the year, I don't do it as consistently as I would like. But we did just use Bible, and everybody really enjoyed using that. I did go through the Gospels, so it was a little confusing at times because people would be like, wait, we read that yesterday. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure we didn't. I don't remember this section right here. So it was a little harder at times with the memory. But I really liked just going back to the Bible. So we did it first thing in the morning, and then we did it first thing in the afternoon. And then if Dad could, because sometimes he would work late and sometimes life just got late, Dad would have the evening devotions. So we did not use Apologia's Who is God this year, but I do have the second book. We did the first book last year and I did a video on that. I'll leave it linked down below, but we have the second book, and I think I am going to bring it back in maybe as a lunchtime thing, or we'll just do it over the summer. I have it. I want to use it. We did like the first one. But in the end, I think I'm just going to not buy anymore and stick to our Bible. We also have a devotions that we're going to be starting next year. That video will be coming out shortly. So that's what we did for Bible. We always opened up with Bible, and then if I was on my game and I remembered, The hardest thing about the school year was teaching the younger ones to sit still, be quiet. I have a 2, almost 3-year-old, so he's in that transition stage of wanting to be all over the place, and I'm trying to teach that 1 hour block time of what we needed. I also had a really rough year with my now 7-year-old. He, I don't know, was just very rebellious this year. We just had a really hard time putting in those good habits, training good character with him. And so I would say between those 2 boys, and everybody agreed, we really, really worked hard on that. Oh, I got a text. Okay. So that was kind of our big practice in the morning, was just trying to build those up. Honestly, at the end of the year, I don't think we managed it, but that's okay. We took June off, and I'm going to start in July, and we're just going to try to build that habit. So we did the Bible. We tried to pray when I could. And so far as poetry memory work, we did phenomenally last year. This year, we, unfortunately, that one just fell away. Sometimes I could read a poem or something like that, but insofar as memorizing, didn't happen. Another thing that didn't really happen was a lot of art during the day. So that's unfortunate. We both, or all of us now, kind of contemplated on that. Don't really care for how that worked out at the end, but we'll move on. Another thing that we did do this year that wasn't used so much in years past was putting in missionary stories. So maybe we took out the poetry memory work and a lot of the Bible memory verses, and that being said, we did memorize several, just maybe outside of the school time. So maybe we didn't hit all of those, but we read a ton of missionary stories this year. We have Missionary Story Sunday, so every Sunday morning I am reading from our missionary stories, but this school year I ended up putting in some other ones, and those are really good. But when I didn't do the missionary stories, I used our Beautiful Feet teaching character through literature. I did a video on this. Again, it'll be linked down below. We did not get as far as I wanted. I had wanted to finish the primary readers, and we got all the way up to lesson 8, which is Rachel and Obadiah. No, I did do Rachel and Obadiah. We got all the way up to lesson 9, which was When I Was Young in the Mountains, which I have that book. I love that book. If you've never read that book, go to your library and check it out. So we didn't do When I Was Young in the Mountains. We didn't do Mrs. Rumphius. We didn't do Brave Irene. Again, another beautiful book that I love. Obadiah the Bold. I do own that book. So basically all of those books are books that I own. And Last Stop on Market Street, which I don't own. So there was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There was 5 lessons still that I had wanted to do before we ended for the year, but I didn't get there. So that's a little unfortunate, but that's okay. This wasn't supposed to be something that I did every week. It was just kind of nice. Insofar as what I thought of this, so what you would do is you would read the book. Sometimes there would be 4 or 5 things to do for that week. I believe it's a week. I don't know if it's a week. Honestly, I just knew how I wanted to do it, and it was my helping guide. So let's say we did lesson 7, Read the 7 Silly Eaters by Mary Ann Hoberman. So I read that one day. The next day, I would pull it out again, maybe read a little section or something to kind of remind us of the story. And then the second part is, what did you like about that story? Actually, I would have done that on the first day. Let's go to the third one. How's your family similar or different from the Peters? Does everyone in this family care for one another? So maybe like the second or third day, I would just kind of be, hey, do you remember this book? So, you know, we talked about what our favorite part is, but what do you think about this? And we would kind of discuss it. And then I maybe would bring in the number 4, God gave us our family as a gift. How can we help care for this gift? And then we would kind of put those two together And then maybe we would go do something. Maybe we would do something for someone else. Like today I would say, okay, I want you guys to show someone that they're special, that God has made them. Show them that you care. You're going to care for them one way. And then the day after that, we would write out and work on memorizing Exodus 20:12. So I just kept it very simple. I didn't necessarily follow it by the book insofar as do I find this worth it? I mean, it's a really difficult question because sometimes I have so much on my plate that trying to think of thought-provoking questions or just something for the kids is difficult. And then sometimes I would just skip what they did anyways because I didn't really see the purpose in it. Insofar, but remember, these are the primary grades. They're the lower grades. So let me pull out something from an upper grade. Okay, 100 dresses. So each week you would read certain chapters of 100 dresses. Okay, lesson 6, read chapters 1 and 2 of 100 dresses. Okay, so then you've got a couple questions for that week. Maddie goes along with Peggy when she's having fun with Wanda, even when deep inside she feels something is not right. Why? Why does Maddie justify her silent complacency? Can you think of other situations where people are devalued based upon the way their name sounds or the way they look or where they come from? And maybe hindsight, like what I'll think about ahead is like, you know what, this is a great journaling opportunity. Here's your journals. I want you to think of a situation where this could be applied in your life and what you think God would want. And then we memorize Ephesians 4:32. So I quote that all the time, especially when my kids are arguing. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted. I'll shout that. Tender-hearted, forgiving one another just as God has forgiven you. Yes, darling. You know, I can see this being, you know, again, another, maybe this time we'll do watercolors with the Bible verse. And then the next week you've got to read some more chapters. Why is Maddie so distracted? How did the game of the 100 dresses begin? Why does Maddie rip up the note what she started to write to Peggy? Ella Wheeler Wilcox once said, to sin by silence when we should protest makes cowards of men. Wow. Yee, that hurt. But see, something like that, I would have them put down in their commonplace notebook or have it as a copy work or something, because I like that. And I would actually put it on the whiteboard so that I see it often and would memorize it because, I tell the kids that you don't have to sin by doing something. You can still sin by not doing something. So that would have kind of driven home that point. And then, okay, so stuff like that, like I said, sometimes they're very useful. Sometimes it's like, I could have read this book and we could have had discussions with or without this. So I think if you're a seasoned homeschooler, I don't know if this would be helpful to you. Again, I was homeschooled, so I kind of have the idea in my head of what my mom did. And I am on my 6th year of homeschooling, or 7th, kind of depends on what you think. 6th or 7th year of homeschooling. So I've kind of gotten an idea of what works for us, what is good for our family, some of the things that I want to do. So insofar as if this is worth the money, it was only $20. If you are not tight on funds, then I really wouldn't see a reason in not getting it and having a good resource. Try to find them used. Insofar as if you're tight on funds, which we have been, maybe just get an idea of the books that they read them to your children. Just talk. You know, children are much more insightful than we give them credit for. And so that's something to just think about. Hey, this character, have you ever felt like her? Or have you been the one that instigates how the character feels? And what can we do about that? How can we improve ourselves? We're all sinners. We're all going to make mistakes. But the point is that we need to confess that we've made the mistake and move on. And so stuff like that I've always had conversations with. And as I'm reading a book, it's easy for me, reading a book is easy for me to think of a Bible lesson that would work well with this. Okay, so let's move on. Character study, Bible, and then typically what I would do is I would pull out our history spine for the year. Again, I've done a video on this, leave it down below, but I would read on Monday and Wednesday Monday and Tuesday I would read the 2 portions. So usually each chapter is split up into 2 sections. So I would read section 1 on Monday, section 2 on Tuesday. Wednesday we would have our map work. Thursday we would do our narrations. And it works out to be about 30 to 40 minutes for this. Then I would go into our read alouds, and again I would do that for 30 to 40 minutes depending on what the book was. And so far as all the read alouds I had planned, some of them ended up being a lot more deep than I was prepared for. It would have been great for high school or me, but not for the lower levels, especially with the variety of ages that we had. We did Carry On Mr. Bowditch. I think that is everybody's favorite this year, as well as Black Powder. Those were the 2 that everybody loved. We did many. We did Genevieve Foster's The World of William Penn. I thought that was a phenomenal book. It probably wasn't the kids' favorite. It was more nonfiction than fiction, but it was still really good. So I had the activity pages from Story of the World. I put them in this binder. I'm not going to open it because some of these are falling out. Well, I guess I can open. Here we go. So we have like the map work in here. There's some coloring pages. This one happens to be my son, so he didn't really do the coloring pages. The other thing I have in here are their written narrations for history. Anyway, the packets, the history packets, grabbing one at random, they kind of look like this. So this is book 4. Anyway, so my opinion on those, the maps are great, but I won't be purchasing them again when we do the cycle again. We're going to look at a different way to do the map work. I could probably print something out online. We'll go to the globe. We'll kind of point it out. But to be honest, I don't think it was that enriching to our homeschool. A lot of the coloring pages are just wasted. Not all of my kids want to do it. I had ages 5 to 11. No, I'm sorry. My sister was in here, so she's 14. 5 to 14 doing it. The girls would be more typical to color. The boys, meh. And even still, the girls couldn't color everything. They would prefer to do their own kind of coloring and stuff. Watercolors and things like that. So I probably won't pick that up again. My personal opinion on it, it's not bad. It's not anything. It's just the only thing I found worthwhile in it was the map work. Again, the way this comes is something like this, and so it has, you know, your encyclopedia reference, the review questions you can do, the games that are available, additional reading. The additional reading was helpful. The map work and any projects that would be within it. So maybe for that alone, it was worth it. Honestly, I have enough friends and family that kind of, that have these, and I could borrow them and just make a list. Honestly, though, I don't think I would purchase these. One of the things that I can do is pick up the main book, look at the chapters, and it kind of tells me what they're going to be going for. I go on my bookshelves, or I go to Google, I kind of type in maybe that country or that era, and then just start pulling book lists for myself, because a lot of these books that they recommend, so additional reading history, Dr. Martin Luther King, the Civil Rights Movement, Rosa Parks, literature suggestions, Remember, Linda Brown, again, different things. I can do that. That's not a problem. Obviously, this is, you know, modern history, so these ones are going to be a lot easier than, let's say, ancient. But I still have a pretty good bookshelf here that I can just pull from. And most of the time, I don't even use those. I use, like, Bookshark reading lists and Sunlight reading lists and Beautiful Feet reading lists. and just books that I remember from my own childhood. Those reading lists, Sunlight, Bookshark, and Beautiful Feet, and I think there's a couple other ones. They don't have books like G.A. Henty or trying to remember. I have Noel Streatfeild, the woman that wrote the Shu books. I have her one on King Tut. And that's not necessarily ones that you're going to find them. They are older, they're harder to find. But like I said, it's not difficult for me to pick those up. And again, I look for good quality books at secondhand stores, at book sales, and things like that. And I just kind of keep in mind, keeping it simple. Ambleside has a bunch there too. So there you go. I don't think I will be purchasing those again. It saves some money every year. So just wanted to throw that out there. And so after that, we would move into our personal studies. We start school at 9, so usually about 10:30, we're wrapping up. They go into their personal studies for an hour, and usually those are things like grammar, handwriting, Bible, personal Bible stuff, grammar, handwriting, Bible, math. If my kids had math, my sister didn't, but she had some more difficulty with her grammar. She was using Right Shop at the last half of the year and Easy Grammar at the front of the year. And let's see, and then spelling for the older two was on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then for the younger two was Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's how I broke that up. And so about 11:30 we would break and start our astronomy, again bringing everybody back. Now this year, this is Apologia. This is I think it's our second year of completing this, but it's our third year doing Apologia. Botany was a little difficult. We tried it twice and we just really didn't finish it. I think botany needed to be a little bit more advanced in age. It just was a little more difficult. I think if we did it now, it would be a lot easier. We did Swimming Creatures last year. Everybody loved it. The vote was to do astronomy this year. I don't follow it according to the days, and everybody loved it. So what I would do is I would just read, and then this year I got the junior notebooking to go with it for the 3 older ones, and I will say I probably won't do that again. In the end, we recycled most of it. You know, all the stuff that we really loved and held on to was the watercolor paintings that we did, with some narration, you know, we did like the rainbow colors to kind of show how light, atmosphere, and the sun worked. The northern lights, we had watercolors with that. And a lot of this was just busy work that, you know, in the end, my daughter, my 11-year-old, actually, both my son and my daughter, I think my sister kept hers, but my son and my daughter, they were done. They just checked it into the recycling bin. I'm the one that pulled it out because I'm like, no, I need some proof that we did something. So I pulled it out, pulled out some of their, not the testing that they put in here. They put some tests at the end. So they have like a what do you remember? Let's see if I can get to a page. So they have a what do you remember, and you fill it in. And I didn't save any of that. At the beginning is kind of their own writing as to what was in as we learned, and they would just kind of narrate some of the basics that we learned that day, and over the way compiled that whole thing, which was theirs, and in their writing and in their own sentences. I saved some of those because I like that more than answering questions. So in the end, I probably won't purchase those again. Maybe it depends on the type. So we want to do chemistry next year, so I could see needing some kind of notebooking for that, but I haven't decided yet. So we'll just see with that. I'm not really sure. I don't know. We'll see. That video is going to be coming out shortly of what we're going to be doing again as group studies for this coming year. A lot of it is going to be changed a little bit. I might be putting this back on the shelf, or I might be seeing if it can bless someone else, just because I did find a book that I really enjoy, and kind of did what some of these do, because it's teaching character through literature. And so I kind of found something that really works with us. Those of you that love Ambleside probably already know what book this is. But again, that video is going to be coming out shortly, so stay tuned, and I will share that in another video. All right, well, we wrapped up this school year, and again, I kind of shared some of the struggles and some of the things that everybody really loved. And so, yeah, it's time to move forward. We're taking June off. It is almost the 20th of June. So we only have a few more days, maybe like 2 weeks. I think we've got exactly 2 weeks before July 1st, and I would like to start our next school year then. So, again, as I'm putting everything together, I'm making these videos for you, and I will get them out as soon as I can. I'm sorry everything is flipped for you. It's just how my camera is. Well, it's not really my camera. I'm using my phone. I don't have a camera right now, so I'll show at the end. I'll turn the camera around so you can see it without the reverse view. And thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did find it useful. If you didn't and you need more information, go ahead and leave a comment down in the section below so I can put better quality videos out for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Adios.